Most people imagine the fall of Rome like a movie scene: barbarians storming the gates, cities burning, and emperors drinking poison in their marble villas. But empires rarely die from murder. They die from suicide. They rot from the inside out. And the most dangerous weapon isn't a sword, it's money. Rome didn't just collapse because of weak borders or corrupt politicians. It fell because it destroyed its own currency. And if you think that is just ancient history, look around. The exact same game is being played today, and the ending hasn't changed. Let's go back to the beginning. For centuries, the heartbeat of the Roman economy was the silver denarius. When it was first minted around 211 BC, it was the real deal, nearly pure silver. It was trusted everywhere. If you held a denarius, you held the power of Rome. It wasn't just money, it was confidence minted in metal. But ruling the world gets expensive. You have armies to feed, aqueducts to build, and massive borders to guard. By the 2nd century AD, Rome was bleeding cash. Taxes weren't covering the bills. So, the emperors pulled the oldest trick in the book: debasement. Instead of doing the hard thing, raising taxes, they decided to cheat. They started mixing cheap metals into the silver. The numbers are terrifying. Under Augustus, the denarius was about 95% pure silver. Solid, reliable. By the mid-3rd century, it was a joke. It contained less than 5% silver. A coin that used to be precious metal was now just a bronze slug with a thin coat of silver paint. People aren't stupid. They could feel the difference. And that is when inflation hit. Since the money was worth less, merchants demanded more of it. A bag of wheat that used to cost 1 coin suddenly cost 20. This wasn't just economics on paper. It destroyed lives. Soldiers got angry because their pay couldn't buy food. Shops stopped taking the coins altogether, demanding gold or actual goods instead. The economy went backward. It became a vicious cycle. The less people trusted the money, the more the emperors printed to try and catch up. This chaos peaked during the crisis of the 3rd century. For nearly 50 years, Rome was a nightmare of civil wars, plagues, and economic ruin. Emperors lasted months, sometimes just weeks, before being assassinated. Emperor Diocletian tried to stop the bleeding in 301 AD. He passed a law that literally froze prices on everything from grain to wages. If you charged too much, the penalty was death. Guess what? It failed miserably. You cannot command value by decree when the money itself is worthless. Black markets took over and the official economy practically died. Eventually, the Western Empire crumbled because its economic heart stopped beating. Trade networks broke. Armies couldn't be paid and trust evaporated. So, why does this matter to you, sitting here today? Because destroying money is how empires end. Rome thought it could fool the laws of economics. Modern governments think the exact same thing. They print paper, they manipulate interest rates, and they inflate away their debts. But the outcome is always the same. The people pay the price, wealth is vaporized, and trust collapses. History didn't stop teaching after Rome. Look at Weimar Germany in the 1920s. They printed marks to pay war debts until people needed wheelbarrows of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. Look at Zimbabwe in 2008, where prices doubled every single day until the currency became dust. The names change, but the story is always the same. Governments spend too much, debase the currency to cover it, and ordinary people get crushed. Now look at the United States. In 1971, the link between the dollar and gold was cut. Since then, the dollar has been a fiat currency, backed by nothing but faith. And just like in Rome, the temptation to print money became irresistible. The debt has exploded. A dollar today buys a fraction of what it did 50 years ago. The coins look the same, the bills look the same, but the value has been hollowed out. The trick is always the same. Governments disguise inflation as growth. They tell you the stock market is up, but they don't tell you your money is worth less. Just like the Roman emperors, they pretend nothing is wrong while they shave a little more value off every dollar in your pocket. But here is the scary part. Today, the scale is global. Rome was one empire. Weimar was one nation. Today, the entire world runs on fiat currencies and massive debt. When this bubble bursts, there's nowhere to hide. So, what is the lesson? First, understand that inflation is not an accident. It is a policy. It is a silent tax that transfers wealth from you to the state. Second, real wealth isn't paper digits on a screen. It's assets that hold value: land, skills, resources. History reminds us that financial systems can collapse suddenly. The barbarians might kick down the door eventually, but the real killer is always inside the treasury. Thanks for watching.